Hi students, welcome back. In this video, I am going to explain some problems on threads concept. Okay, so this is a problem. It's a previous gate question. A process executes the code. So this is a fork. Three times it calls. The total number of child process created is. So this is a question. So how you are going to solve? Now let's have a look. Before proceeding with the concept, let me give what is a fork. So what do you mean by fork? A fork is nothing but a system call, right or wrong? It is a system call creates a new process called child. So whenever you call the fork, a child will be going to be created. Any number of times if you are calling, any number of childs will be created. So a fork is a system call which creates a new process. A new process is created called a child. Okay, so this is a concept. Now try to execute the program. So a process execute the code. Here the total number of child process created. How many number of child process are created? Let me explain you. You know the formula, right? So 2 power n minus 1. This is a formula. So for calculating the total number of child process. So here a total number of child process created is how much we need to be know. Okay. So for first call, so this is a parent. Whenever I used to call first fork, a parent will be created. And for next fork, whenever the system call is created, a new process called child will be created. So whenever one parent is there, a two childs will be created, left, right. So again, whenever the system call is occurred, so L3, so this is L1, L2. Whenever the another fork call is created, system call is created, a new process called child will be created. Okay, so L3, this is for left, right, and for this parent is it's a left, right. So totally how many childs are there? So you need to be consider this also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means n is here. So 3n is nothing but forks. How many fork calls are there here? 1, 2, 3. 3 fork calls are there. N is 3. Okay. So 2 power 3 minus 1. That means 7. A total number of child process are created is 7. So here what you have to understand, 2 power n minus is 1 is used to find the number of child process. Okay, what is n? Here n is nothing but the fork. So how many times the fork will be called here? 3 times the fork is called. So that is n is equal to 3. So 2 power 3 minus 1. So that is nothing but 7. 2 power 3, 8. 8 minus 1, 7. So total 7 childs are created. So this is how it is created. I had shown it here in the example. So let me take one more example here. Let me take a program, include main, okay, int I, and for I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Okay, this is a simple C program. If I modulo 2 is equal to 0 and you are going to call the fork, a child has to be created or written 0. So I need to find the child process. How many child process? Total child process. So come on, try it students. How many child process will be there? So first of all, you have to think how many times the fork is called, because if you want to calculate the total number of forks, you need to find out the n. How many times the fork is calling, so that you can easily find the child process, right? So for I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. So here, whenever total I is up to 0 to 9, okay, I less than 10, it will be entering into the loop. So here the checking the condition, I modulo 2 is equal to 0. Okay, whenever the I modulo 2 is equal to 0, then only the fork will be executed. Otherwise, this statement will discard and it enter into the return statement. If 0 modulo 2, first I is equal to 0. 0 modulo 2 means it's nothing but 0. Okay, means whenever it is satisfied, a fork will be called. Okay, and 1 modulo 2. 1 modulo 2 means it's not equal to 0. So whenever 1 modulo 2 is not equal to 0, the statement is enter into return 0. It will not call the fork. Okay, and again it go back to the for loop. Now 2 modulo 2. Yes, 2 modulo 2 is equal to 0. Now the fork is called. And 3 modulo 2 is not equal to 0. So obviously return 0. And 4 modulo 2 is equal to 0, fork is called. So like this, for every even number, the fork is calling. That means whenever I is equal to 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. So 10 it won't execute, because if 10 less than 10 it's not satisfied. So it will exit from the for loop. So whenever I is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, the fork is calling. Right? That means how many times the fork is called? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times. Okay. That means if now n is 5. 2 power 5 minus 1. So how much 2 power 5 minus 1? You will get 31. So 32 minus 1, 31. So the total number of child process here are 31. In this way you need to be calculate, right? Now let's take the another statement problem. The time taken to switch between the user and the kernel mode of execution is T1, right? So if you want to the time taken switching between the user mode to kernel mode, the time taking is T1. First, if you want to execute, user mode has to be shifted to the kernel mode, right? So it is taking T1 time. While the time taken to switch between two processes, suppose a switch between two processes, it takes T2 time. So which of the following statement is correct? T1 is greater than T2, T2 is given C. So what it is saying? So which statement is correct? So this is also the previous gate question, student. Can you try it? I will tell you. The process switch or one point you already know that I already explained. The process switching will be take place only in the kernel mode. Process switch will be taking only in the kernel mode. Okay. So first thing is when the user wants to execute the program, the process switch is first we have to move from user to kernel. So whenever it move from user to the kernel, we have to save the process in process control block. So user to kernel, whenever it is moving, because again we have to give the result to the user only, right? So that process everything, the ID, everything, the process information will be stored in the process control block. Whenever the process switching will be taking place, whenever the context switch will be taken place, that process information will be stored on process control block. It is a data structure maintains operating system for every process. Every process information will be stored on the process control block by the operating system. Okay. So again, whenever the work is over, taking off, again it loads the PCB of the required process. So this is what again the CPU is executing. Again it will be coming back and the result will be given to the user. This is what happening inside. Okay, that is okay. So switching from kernel to user is done. Whenever the work is over, switching from kernel to user is also done. One thing you have to remember that switching from user to kernel mode is very fast. Why it is very fast user to kernel mode? Because operating system just changes single bit at hardware level, because here operating system is not playing a very much role, and here only the user to switch from user to kernel, only one bit of hardware level is enough. But from kernel to user it takes a lot of time. Okay, so the because here not kernel to user, here the process P1, here it is saying between two process. So the time taken to switch between user to a kernel mode is less time, it is saying. Okay, because user to kernel obviously it takes the less time only. Okay, because only the operating system is just change a single bit of hardware level at hardware level, so it takes only less time. But while the time taken to switch between two process be 2. T2 they are given. So time taken to switch between two process. So to switch between two process means the process switching will be taking place only by the kernel. Okay, so whenever the kernel here it is playing a role, so switching between two process means it takes more time when compared to the user level to the kernel level. Because here switching between two process means operating system has to assign a resources to each and every process, and it has to check whether the resources are available and the process is free. Everything it has to be done. So the time taken for switching from one process to another process will takes more time when compared to the user to kernel level switch. So obviously T1 is less than T2. So this is how it has to be executed. Okay, and another concept here, thread is usually defined as a lightweight process. So that we why I have taken these examples means, if you see these examples you will just recall the concepts of threads, even though whatever if I didn't cover there, I'm covering here also. Okay, so that's why you watch the videos till the end, so that you get the clarity on the threads concept. So this is also previous year gate question. A thread is usually a lightweight process because an operating system maintains a smaller data structures for threads than for a process. So in this relations, which of the following statement is true? So if you find out which statement is true, then obviously you are perfect in threads concept. Okay, now let's have a look here. So first let's see the A option. On thread basis, the operating system maintains only CPU register state. If you take the thread concept, is the operating system maintains only CPU registers? Is it true? No. Why it is not true? Because on per thread basis, if you take each and every thread is having their own CPU registers, not only the CPU registers, it is having the stack, it have the code, it have the data segment, code segment, stack segment, everything. It does not, each and every thread is having all these type of registers, not only the CPU register, it having the stack, code segment, data segment, everything will be there. So option A is wrong. Now coming to the option B. The operating system does not maintain a separate stack for each thread. It does not maintain a separate stack for each thread. No, this is also wrong, because for each and every thread, so in the process, a code, okay, and data segment will be shared by all the threads. But each and every thread is having their own stack and own register and the program counter. Each and every stack is having their own register, program counter and the stack. So option 2 is also wrong. Now coming to the 3. On thread basis, the operating system does not maintain a virtual memory state. This is correct. Why it is correct? Because the thread shares address space of process, whereas virtual memory is concerned with process only, not threads. Remember student, a virtual memory will be focused only on the process. It is not concerned on the threads. It will only concern on the process. Whereas the thread will share the address space of the process. Only it shares the address space of the process, not the virtual memory. It does not bother about the virtual memory. It only shares the address. Whatever the address it is there, the process is providing, that it will be shared by the thread. So option C is the correct. And option D is anyhow wrong, because on per thread basis, the operating system maintains only scheduling and accounting information. No, it's not only providing the scheduling and accounting information, it is also providing the CPU registers, stacks, program counters, data files, code files. So option D is also wrong. So I hope you understand what is a thread by seeing these questions also. So in the next video, we will see some more concepts with more examples. Thank you. So if you like this video, please like it and subscribe it and share it. If you're having any doubts, please let me know. Thank you.